All right, let's jump right into this explainer. This is going to serve as your ultimate Genesis International College study guide for the final, absolutely critical phase of concreting, the cleanup. If you're currently studying Unit CPCCCO2013, carrying out concreting to simple forms, this is the exact information you need to master. We're zeroing in on Chapter 6 of your learner guide today. Now, a lot of folks think the job is basically done the second the concrete is poured and finished, but as we're going to see, what you do after the pour is literally just as important as what you do during it.
We are going to map out what I like to call the professional's finish by moving through 6 key areas: the professional cleanup, site safety requirements, waste and environmental protection, handling materials safely, maintaining your tools, and secure tool storage.
Section 1. The professional cleanup. First things first, we really need to reframe how we think about packing up a site. It's so easy to be completely exhausted at the end of a heavy pour, but honestly, this is exactly when you need to be the absolute sharpest. The crucial point here is that cleaning up isn't just some afterthought. It is a mandatory, high-stakes process. It keeps the site free from hazards, prevents environmental harm, and gets the area ready for either an inspection or the next trade rolling in. You are operating under very strict Work Health and Safety, or WHS, legislation, along with strict Environmental Protection Authority regulations. Section 2. Site Safety Requirements. Let's look at how safety dictates our physical actions on site. During an active cleanup, you've got to be properly geared up. Think sturdy safety boots, high-vis, and waterproof gear when you're washing down the site. That is your absolute first line of defense. Cleanup almost always involves handling sharp, heavy, or incredibly slippery materials, so having the right personal protective equipment is completely non-negotiable when dealing with wet concrete and random debris. For your assessments, and honestly, just to keep yourself in one piece, you have to memorize these specific WHS hazard controls. When you grab a broom or start moving gear, you need gloves, safety boots, and eye protection on, period. If you spot exposed nails on stripped timber, denail them immediately to stop anyone from getting a nasty puncture wound. As you're moving around, you've got to constantly watch your footing around wet slurry to prevent slips. You also need to maintain clear walkways and exits. Don't just leave rakes and trowels lying around where they become tripping hazards. And hey, if you're moving heavy bags of cement or long form boards, don't be a hero. Grab a partner and use a team lift. Section 3. Waste and environmental protection. So, transitioning from protecting ourselves to protecting the actual site around us. What's really interesting here is just how incredibly strict the environmental rules are. It all starts with knowing your waste. You've got to know the stark difference between standard recyclable site waste, we're talking timber offcuts and clean steel mesh, versus hazardous chemical waste, which is your oily rags, chemical containers, and empty cement bags. Mixing these up, yeah, that's a direct violation of company policies and can easily slap your site with massive EPA fines. Following these 4 exact steps ensures you are managing waste like a pro and keeping stuff out of landfills unnecessarily. 1. Separate as you go. Toss timber, plastic sheeting, and tie wire straight into their proper bins. 2. Collect your concrete debris. Shovel or scrape hardened spills into a designated skip bin. 3. Bag your small waste. Gather up those loose nails, bits of wire, and offcuts into heavy-duty bags so they don't just blow away in the wind. And 4. Strictly avoid contamination between your general waste and the hazardous materials. Now, when it comes to washing down the area, you absolutely must contain the runoff. You only wash your tools and wheelbarrows in designated washout bays. Why? Well, because concrete residue and cement dust can severely damage plants and completely wreck local waterways if it's left uncontrolled. Never, ever hose cement dust or slurry towards street drains or gutters, even if it looks totally harmless. It has to be contained. Section 4. Handling materials safely. Let's talk about moving wet, heavy equipment and leftover materials, because this is prime time for an injury if you aren't paying close attention. Complying with these safe handling protocols will massively reduce your risk of strain injuries. Lift safely by bending your knees and keeping your back straight. Avoid overloading yourself. Just use a wheelbarrow for the heavy, awkward stuff like mesh or waste buckets. To maintain load stability, make sure you stack materials securely on flat ground or pallets so they don't suddenly collapse on you. Always follow the site's traffic plan, and please, inspect your trolleys and lifting gear to make sure they aren't faulty before you load them up. Section 5. Maintaining your tools. You know the old saying, a professional concreter is only as good as their tools? Well, taking care of them immediately after use is a massive part of your Genesis International College training. You've got to scrape your trowels and floats clean before the concrete hardens. Preventing that moisture damage and rust is what gets you from a messy pile of gear to a beautifully organized professional workspace. That's the standard. You should mentally run through this exact maintenance checklist at the end of every single pour. Clean off the wet concrete. Inspect your tools for straightness, because I promise you, a warped screed or float will totally ruin your next finish. Check for cracks or loose fittings. For your power tools, strictly verify electrical safety. Look for any cuts or exposed wires. Dry all your metal tools off and give them a light oil to stop rust in its tracks. And finally, keep those wooden handles smooth and splinter-free so you don't shred your hands on the next job.
So let me pose a quick question to you. What is your exact responsibility when you actually find a faulty or unsafe tool? Picture it. You're doing your cleanup and you notice a cracked handle or an exposed wire on an angle grinder. What do? Because just tossing broken gear back into the toolbox is a massive WHS violation. Here's your answer, straight out of the study guide. Step 1, identify and isolate the unsafe tool. Tag it out if you have tags, but do not leave it where someone else might grab it. Step 2, notify your supervisor immediately so they actually know a piece of equipment is down. And step 3, follow your specific workplace policy for getting it repaired or tossed out. These 3 mandatory steps ensure that damaged equipment is pulled from circulation before it causes a serious accident on the next shift. Section 6, secure tool storage. This brings us to the very last thing you do before you walk off the site, locking down your assets. Adhering to proper storage rules protects your incredibly expensive equipment. Store everything in designated, lockable site boxes or sheds. Crucially, keep your items off the ground using shelves or pallets. This stops ground moisture from creeping in and causing rust. Organize your tools by type so they're super easy to grab next time. And of course, lock all the storage areas when you're leaving to completely eliminate the risk of theft. Remember this exact standard for your Genesis International College assessments. Mastering the cleanup isn't just about pushing a broom around. It is the ultimate mark of a certified, safe professional. It shows total respect for your tools, the environment, and the safety of your entire crew. So as you wrap up your study of Topic 6, I'll leave you with this thought. If the way you leave your site is the signature of your professionalism, what is your cleanup currently saying about you? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and good luck with your assessments.